Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and pool fans checking in from around the world. We're here at Caesars Southern Indiana at the 24th Annual Derby City Classic. And for those who say Bigfoot doesn't exist, well, I can tell you that you're wrong. I'm standing right behind what we call the Bigfoot. 5x10, beautiful, super tight diamond. And who's enjoying this tournament so far, huh? We've seen some incredible pool. Started with 16 of the greatest players on the planet. We're down to 4, and only one of these next players can move on to the championship, and it's time to find out who. First up, he defeated the great Alex Pagulayan in round 1. Fedor Gorst last round to get here. The Music Open champion, U.S. Open one-pocket champion, and the winner of this very event, Bigfoot 10-ball championship. Sponsored by Predator, Bogies in Houston, and Havoc Productions. From Zamboanga, Philippines, the Superman, Roberto Gomez. And his opponent defeated Max Everly in round 1. Jason Shaw last round to get here. 5-time U.S. Open champion. He's also the reigning world champion and 16-time member of Team USA. Sponsored by Q-Tech, Rasson Billiards, VNEA Pool Leagues. From Sioux Falls, South Dakota, USA, the South Dakota Kid, Shane Van Boening. Our referee is Ricky Bryant. We're lagging for the break and sending it up to the Accu-Stats skybox.
Hello and welcome, everybody. We have world-class 10-ball featuring Roberto Gomez, who's won this event in 2018, versus Shane Van Boening, who previously won this event in 2014-2015. I'm Mark Wilson. With us today is Jeremy Jones. And Jeremy, give us something to look for with Roberto Gomez's break.
Well, Gomez, who improved his break considerably over the last few years, kind of used to overhit him at times, and the cue kind of seesaw a little bit through the ball. I know that's kind of hard to imagine, but now much more square, realizing it's much more about the timing of the impact than it is just raw power. And Gomez, I'll tell you, he's a player that has won a lot of different ways in a lot of different disciplines, and it's going to be a tough match for Shane here after a big match and a big win over Fedor Gorst yesterday.
Yeah, Gomez got here by beating Gorst yesterday 11-9, and previously he beat Alex Pagulayan 11-8. Van Boening arrives here by beating Jason Shaw, and then he beat Max Everly. Race to 11. No jump cues, and the 10-ball does not win on the break.
And I think you're going to see yesterday was like the strangest day for breaking that I've seen in a while for these great players, especially with the template rack your own. We had a lot of dry breaks, a lot of different speeds tried. I wouldn't say a lot of different types of breaks too much, just different speeds. And this is one of them long rail banks I was telling you about, hard for the guys to pass up on the 9-footer. 10-footer, maybe not so much. He's going behind the 10-6 here. He's going to love this, I think, anyways. Ooh, look at that. It's going to open up and leave a little piece.
It's so important, too, for these great players to try to get the edge here and get the first lockdown safety. So Gomez, while it's not an easy offering, can defend himself from here because he can see the ball.
Yeah, and we talked about it several times before. Not as much this week, I think a couple times, but that early time at the table, too. Whether you produce, just a one-game lead, it ain't a whole lot, but just getting that early time at the table here, especially these guys aren't playing like 2-3 matches a day like a lot of tournaments you play.
Yeah.
They've played one so far, so it can be a little new every day you come in, right?
Right.
Especially this is the 10-footer. This isn't the 9-footer or something they play in so often.
Looks like Shane can only see a piece of the one. Well,
yeah,
maybe. Now he's looking like he can bank the one across the table.
If he's trying to hit it thick, if he thinks he can do that, I don't think he can hit it with much pace to do that. And watch out for the point on the side pocket. I don't think that'll slow the cue ball down, but to me, he's got to edge it and run behind the 2-7 and the 3. I know he's going to surrender the 1, but like that, he's going to give the 1 up maybe. Man, he didn't even do that, but still, that's the shot.
He got the blocker ball. He kept the 5 ball in play. Now don't know if Roberto can see the edge of the one. Looks like he might be able to.
Yeah, and go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, I don't know if we can grab the overhead, but in which case I think it's going to be overcut on the one like this and let the cue ball run down here, probably with a little bit of right English. That might not even be the accurate, but I think he's going to overcut the bank.
I think he has to actually use left. Right might
left.
run him into.
I meant left. I'm
right,
sorry.
Yeah, right might run him into the 5 a little bit.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. You want to get away from that. So he tried to do that, hit the one a little bit thick.
Yeah, but see the speed on the cue ball? He couldn't really predict a whole lot, right?
Yeah.
So that's the one thing you can predict is the speed on the cue ball there. He couldn't tell how the one's going to come off the 5 or another ball, right? So that's where I think he's improved a lot, just making simple decisions. Because we all knew Roberto could get a little flashy at times with certain shots or maybe go for a little too much. Real sound player now.
Nice kick attempt.
Oh, look at this gap. Wow.
Shane's disappointed, but at the same time, it isn't an absolute sellout.
No, he should just stitch him up here, banking the 1, kind of 2 rails at the 10, drawing to the 3 a little bit. Oh, he could hold it straight on. Ooh, this got kind of nasty beyond the 6 there, and if he can't get to the bottom rail directly, this is trouble. So he can't really kick 3 rails underneath it, and 2 rails at it is a big old scratch, right?
Right.
Now he can kick softly. That's the one, and lay on the 1 ball. That way, if you hit the bottom of it, you got a little bit of a chance of not scratching. Be surprised if he kicks hard. Wow. He caught it thin. That's exactly how he had to catch it to not scratch.
And look at what happened there. The 1 ball got past the side pocket, and so he's kept himself in the game. There's still going to be some defensive play to this rack.
Yeah, with that speed he put on it, Mark, kind of made me feel like he was trying to come 3 underneath it. Real tight into the corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Played the overcut.
Yeah, real smart, natural path, and when pressure's on early in an event or early in a match, if you can pick out some kind of natural hit, that's pretty sweet.
When you see the ball speeds of the object ball and the cue ball, I mean, these guys are dialed in because that's not easy to control both of those things.
Especially when you're cutting it, Mark. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
you're hitting it full, you get a real good feeling of the speed. But when you're cutting it so much from distance, you could easily let up, and that one may only track halfway down the table.
And truly, these exchanges are highlighted on the 5x10 with no jump cues because then you get to really see, just like this shot Shane played with a particular speed to hopefully get this result.
Yeah, jump cues, we might be in rack 3 right now. I mean, someone might have jumped one in and ran out.
Right. Look at this tactical kick, trying to freeze it on the 10. Nice effort.
Yeah, and the other thing he saw right there was the 5, right? You saw he was trying to kick it soft to lay it on the side rail. If he gets the snooker, great. If not, he's hoping the 5 blocked the pocket.
And these guys make it look so effortless. They do it so often. You think it's natural, but it's super difficult. He's only a tick off leaving the shot from not leaving a shot.
Yeah, and you can size those types of shots up all you want. But that's what reminds me it's a sport. It's a lot of gut instinct on things,
Right. You and I broadcast Shane's matches going into this, and both times his backswing had a little, sometimes not as fluid as what you said was his sweet one. Mm-hmm. And then here, just watching him warm up before the match here for the last hour, he was just tagging balls from long range and hitting them so pure. It was unbelievable, and confident, too. I mean, there's no hesitation in the stroke.
Yeah.
So whatever you said, anyway, he's coming around.
Well, we talked about it here this week. I mean, of course, the Derby's huge. This is a big one leading in, but, he just got a hold of that World 9-Ball title after some 20-something years of trying it probably, and he's going back to try and defend it next week. So it's a huge event for him in a lot of ways to get the year started right, plus setting him up for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Even that little shot, delicate shot, if you want to go to school and transition from backswing to foreswing, it's just superb. Now, part of it's because he plays a lot of pool, so he does get that looseness to it,
right,
where it's fluid, but also being aware of it.
Uh-oh. Money? No. Well, the thing is, no matter what your technique is, Shane doesn't go through the ball all the time. He stops at impact a lot with certain shots. But no matter what your impact is or your technique is, a better backswing helps them all. A more relaxed, natural backswing helps every one of them.
Right. Now, this is the shot that's a stressor because...
Well, this is the one where the backswing is so important. If he calms it back, I don't think there's any chance of him missing. There it is. There it is. That's all he had to do. Before, he would jerk it back a little more.
Yeah.
A bigger pause, like a huge pause, right? And then his ability would take over. But if you put his best technique with his ability, whew.
Now, no letdown, and he stays very still with his body. You get a good look at it here.
Well, look at how much better the backswing is there. Yeah.
Pure.
And it's all about the start. If you can see where the ferrule doesn't jump away from the bridge hand, on the backswing, that's where you're going to be okay. You rarely have the backswing change too much during the swing.
We all know Van Boening has the very best power break in the sport because he trains it so hard. But if he has that good backswing, everybody's going to have to look out. Even the other great players can't keep up with the break and so much of the offense. He got here by virtue of, out of his 22 wins that he had to get here, he's got 6 break and runouts.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you watch through the years, it used to be that his break shot had the best backswing, meaning it was calm, he loaded up, he let everything get together in the back before it started to head forward, right?
Yeah.
And that's why he drove the cue stick so far through the cue ball. Because when you don't jerk it, it has a chance to keep going a little bit.
Now, you said he let the backswing, he completed the backswing, he let it get together. Is that how you phrased it?
Well, like they say in golf, get behind the ball, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they come back with the backswing, they're already starting to move forward a hair before they get everything together in the back. You got to wait till everything gets together, then the body leads and the hand pulls through.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah,
right?
complete
The timing's
the backswing.
better. Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
absolutely. Yeah. That's a good way to phrase it. Jerry Bryseth at one time, he was yelling at me about my fast backswing. He goes, Mark, look, you can either make the cue stop or you can let the cue stop. Which way do you think you hit the cue ball more precise? Make it stop or let it stop?
Right. So, well, watch here. He jerked it a little bit. Usually he loads up, and that's what makes him go through so much better, yeah.
Holy moly. Yeah, the field's in trouble.
Yeah, well.
You can just tell it right now. He's here to win this tournament.
For sure, and, he looks to improve every day anyways. Just that's how he is by nature. And, he's had his little holiday of fishing, right? So he's back to business. And the thing is, they're always going to lay tough on the 10-footer. That's the nature of the beast. But if they happen to lay tough for both players or a little more tough, that's where Shane, I think, really separates himself. That's that tough pocket.
Well, and he flickered a little bit with his upper body. I didn't watch the ball. That was the first time I saw the shoulders just ripple just a little bit on that foreswing.
Yeah, and if you notice, it was much more of like a piston backswing, kind of quick, kind of like it almost looks like it's flat coming back and forth, kind of choppy a little bit. That pocket, though, has cost a lot of shots this week, though.
It wasn't like he hit it awwhen it wasn't like that. And it's kind of funny. If you're willing to flinch at all, this table will bring it out of you. When you look down the flight deck of an aircraft carrier to, something, just a tiny little thing you're shooting to, and then you got to use a little power to get the cue ball 2 cushions back up. And so,
funny little shot here, right?
Oh, very.
Does the 5 pass the 9 up long?
I think you have to play the 5 in the side off the 9. I think that works.
I think he's coming for the tight. Oh.
And that being said, maybe it does go by there. I'm 25 feet away.
Well, he'll have to rifle the 9 to have off the 9 to have any chance.
It must go by.
Excuse me.
It must go by, Jeremy. No, he's looking at 5 off the 9. So, like you said,
is he looking at that or the safety on planting on top of the 9?
Oh, well, you might be right again.
Because this is funny to get on the 6. Yeah,
well,
I thought he had to rifle that to make. If you look at where the 9 was on the overhead,
double kissed it, rattled it home.
I mean, the 9 was past the side pretty decent.
Yeah,
I kind of felt like he had to hit it pretty hard to get a little more bounce effect,
Well, you were right. It rattled the pocket. Bigger pocket, it probably drops in there even from that awkward spot. But on these snug pockets, you have to really hit them pure.
Yeah, and he added a little right English, which actually I thought helped the shot have a chance. That's why I think he actually got closer with that speed than I thought he would. Which Roberto, very savvy on all those shots. I mean, knows a lot of them. And I didn't get to see his match with Alex. I know you told me about it. I heard about it a little bit, but I thought he kind of got stronger yesterday as the match went on.
Okay, here's another look. Look at this shot. Oh, we don't have his body. I can see it here.
Just overcut it just a touch.
And here's that shot. And then he gets the double kiss and goes right there. It didn't look like it was going to reach.
I know, right?
This Simona's claw, just the last turn. Gomez smiled. Shane wasn't delighted. We're 1-1.
Yeah, I've hit a few more balls last night. Man, tables are playing super nice. I'll tell you. I don't think what they've done here is going to hurt this event at all. And every player, you know, whether it be top players, you know, on down the road to guys that are just enjoying themselves playing here, they've all had nothing but good words about the table specs. Now he'll carry a real heavy angle here, right? And then watch when he gets it back, the body comes up, the cue starts to level out a little bit through the middle of the ball.
Boy, wow, really good hit there.
Is that the fastest you've ever seen a side ball go in the
Yeah.
side? I mean, it was like the corner ball on a bar table going in or something. I mean, it was flew in.
And very dead with the cue ball. I mean, it didn't have any hint of side spin or anything. He really tagged those square.
Yeah, the 8-9 looks like it may throw in. It's quite a bit of throw, but it's decent for later in the rack.
And along the rail gives you a little support to get it in there, too.
I'll tell you what, the bank kind of runs 3 rails towards the 9 if you want to open it up. Oh, that's a great controlled bank there.
Yeah, he didn't want to add difficulty to the shot. He wanted to make sure he got the one ball down.
Yeah, absolutely. But with the soft spin, that tells you he's pretty comfortable. That's not the most comfortable way to shoot it. It's not terrible, but like a natural cut high ball is your most comfortable way usually. He spun it down there very nicely. Drawn to the side rail and back out. Stroke looks pretty confident.
It does. It didn't have that two-stage, that little hint of a jerk in the middle of that one. That was real fluid.
Yeah, and his kind of in the backswing will kind of almost start to really slow down about the middle way through to the stop. See it right there? He's got a decent angle. He can certainly draw into him, and the good thing is he can go softly. He's going to stun, okay? If he can go with a high ball by the 10, he's golden. But if you have to stun, you can get stuck to this. So this one's dead. Definitely dead. He's got to hit a little underneath it, Mark. Just a hair to throw it. Oh, is he cut?
Doesn't look like much. Doesn't look like he needs to do much with it.
Okay. It was like really dead.
Oh, he's playing good.
Yeah, nice clearance after probably an even better break shot.
And breaking run out
nice
there.
breaking
Two
run
to
from
one
the
lead
Superman.
now for Gomez.
Gives him the lead.
He got here with
2 games to
produced
1.
4 breaking run
Van
outs
Boening
getting here.
will be
So that makes
breaking
a
in
total
rack
of 5.
4.
And that's the thing with the great players here. When we get down to the semifinal action, naturally everybody's playing well. You can't gunfight every rack with these guys. You're going to have to win some games on your own without them getting to play. Otherwise, you're just 50-50.
Well, yeah, these guys, you know, the brain is so good along with the body. They usually figure out the break as it goes a little better. Every match they play, they still respect the table, of course, but they start to forget about a few things here and there, which makes them play better. You know, just little things, actually, that just add up for the great players to make it look like they're better like 25%.
Well, these guys virtually never get to play on a 10-footer. Right, and then you get here, and of course it's intimidating because they're in stroke. When I go down there and look at it, it's like, holy moly! And then I say 4 1/8 pockets, and then that's in the back of my mind on every backswing. And guess what?
Yeah. Well, with the top guys that are, and this is same with when you play professionally, you talk about a spec at the beginning, you talk about the table, or hey, the pockets are tighter, but then after a while, it's not the conversation much anymore for these guys.
They just that we're not acclimated.
Right. Oh, that's the timing right there. Look at oh my gosh.
Oh, Shane, look at this. It rattled around.
Shane, he'll laugh. See,
3, 6, 7, 3 balls on the break. Perfect shot on the 2. Open layout.
Yeah, he's really just got to command the cue ball a little bit here. But that almost was a little example of the difference we talked about in, I think, Shane's first match. How he was smiling right there after watching that cue ball get binged around and what looked like was going to be an awful scratch. And it's like it's a nice mode. Someone say, no, I want that killer all the time. But, you got to realize Shane's transitioning a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anything to relieve a little stress, I think for him is a good thing. He's just he doesn't have to worry about titles no more. He's just got to worry about playing his best pool.
It's right. I think he's grown accustomed to that. What happened was it's one thing to get to the top, then it's quite another thing to stay at the top because you have a bullseye on your back. And now he stayed at the top, and now he's just going to be him. And where before he was trying to create that image, that name, that
he's trying to
be number one,
make a mark, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now he's comfortable with who he is, and he's just going to play some pool.
Yeah, he wants to, and he still wants to play great. He doesn't. That's the thing with him. It's not like he just wants to compete. He still wants to play great. It's just maybe playing great is much more of the only goal, and kind of recognizing titles will come. Even still, I think, for him.
Yeah, the winning takes care of itself if you do your job.
But I'm saying also, I think he's still top 5 favorite in any event he plays in.
Oh, nice break there to retaliate with a breaking run of his own. Our score is now tied at 2 games
Things are tied back up 2 games
and
apiece.
yesterday we saw some complications with the break shot early in the event yesterday. Not so much so far today.
No, but they're also hitting them harder. They're hitting them square and harder both.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Martin, who carries some of the Polish guys around. Super nice guy. Knows a lot of what's going on. And we were talking about Fortunski and then Conrad. And we were commenting on how Conrad went to the closed bridge at the end of the match yesterday, went to breaking them harder. And I think that's the way to go to get consistencies. And I don't think you miss hit the rack as much because you're not you're just swinging and not letting up ever, right? So you're going to probably not lose the cue balls often as well. So he was saying that Conrad's definitely going to go to the hard break today.
Another break, but not as good as his first one, just because there was a lot of side spin on there. So that takes away a half a mile an hour at least of your speed.
And you can see just not as much pop on the cue ball, which, of course, had a little bit to do with not hitting in the center. So
hitting that big power break in the center requires hours of training. And so Roberto got it the first time, but he didn't get it the second time. But Shane Van Boening, Captain America, he practices that all the time, and we will not be seeing that type of spin on his cue ball very often at all throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, his is rarely side. Occasionally you'll see him get a little more top than he wants, Shane. I can't believe he's rolling out here, to be honest with you. Just because this big group of balls over here on the 2, 5, 7 and all that. I thought he would push kind of onto the 5, kind of rolling forward. And the kick shot behind the 2, kind of kicking one rail underneath it. He's never going to get this back, obviously, and he could be in a bad spot afterwards. Is he chipping the 1 over? That's the
nice
prudent
shot.
play, yeah.
Wow. Now you got tons of cover, and it's hard to hit.
Well,
usually you can get somebody behind balls, but they can kick at it. Here, this is a super tough one to kick at.
Well, the good thing is, if he can't, there's a little alley. If he comes across it, if he's confident with it, he's going to measure it. Shane is, but the 1 may bank back up. in between the 7-5 and the 2 may slow the cue ball down in a nice manner. So
It may.
yeah, but it's almost like what I'm saying is, oh, he's coming 2 behind it. There's nothing wrong with this. Oh, he's coming like that. Oh, he caught the 5.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he added side right there, though. I thought he'd just straight ball it. But what I was saying is, if he does hit it, most likely something good's going to happen.
Yeah.
Just the way it laid, you know. It's like
Yeah.
it's almost like when you leave a guy a little piece of the ball, and you leave him just the perfect piece for him to make it. So if he shoots at it, you know, like, oh, this is perfect, you know.
Right.
Now, he might foul going into the ball in front of him, but if he happens to hit it, it's probably going to be okay. All right, little squeeze on the cue ball there, yeah. Okay, once he removes the 2, the 6 will have a pocket as well. So, good chance that Roberto get back in that lead. Uh-oh. Oof. That was close. Now he's a little awkwardly cueing as well.
Yeah, a little off angle. Not bad, but maybe just a hint the wrong way, and then over the 5. Then you got to hit downward so that your effective topspin doesn't take as easily when you hit downward.
Yeah, and he off angle is where the 10-footer helps you a little more space to spin up, right? But the cueing is definitely a little awkward.
Right over the 5.
Ooh, it's going to go a little bit.
Kind of scared me.
Actually, really nice. He'd love to be able to draw over, get a little closer, maybe a little flatter, but I think he's just going to sacrifice a little distance here, Mark. Okay, he's got to make a decision moving the rock. I think he moves it 3 rails to the center. I think, anyways. He could actually zigzag between the 6-7. That's not terrible with draw. Not the worst shot in the world. You can let the stroke out.
Yeah, he's stretching. This is an awkward stretch for him.
That's why I kind of like hitting more down a little bit when I'm stretching than top inside for some reason. Just because the straight draw, you don't have to worry about the deflection so much when you're stretched. You can kind of let the stroke out, draw him between the 6-7.
Grabbed his extension.
Looks like he's going forward. Oh, he kept it real simple. And that's not really a bad play at all. I just didn't see it coming.
I think the reason he did that was just because of how awkward the cueing was.
Yeah.
If he could have got at the cue ball easier, I think he would have liked to do something more, but he realized this had the higher percentage yield.
No, I couldn't agree with him more, actually. And buries this big for his confidence. Didn't pause at the cue ball at all.
No,
like
he was up and moving. He didn't.
Yeah.
That shot was distasteful for sure because his body reflected it. You know, he played a little bit like this against Gorst yesterday, but then right at the end of the match, you remember how many good hard runouts he completed? And
Yeah, that's what I said at the beginning of this match, that yesterday he was in a dogfight and not dogging it, but just it was tough, and then he really got a lot better at the end of the match, it seemed. Shane taking dead aim, by the way.
Uh-oh. Didn't mean to kiss that.
You know,
He's got to be a shooter now.
At least we get to see him elevate the cue, most likely. He may roll this in. And both ways are confident for him. If he rolls it in, that means he's pretty darn confident because he's willing to take on the 8 the way it is. Because he had a little angle, as you could see. He could have elevated the cue and maybe tried to work the cue ball. This is where you got to ignore. You're going to have to make a nice shot on the 9 also. Don't lose focus here on the 8.
And this is the ones he was popping in practice that he was staying so still with that smooper transition. Because this is the ones that makes you flinch because you know it's missable.
Yeah, and like you always say, not exactly what you would have desired on the shot itself, right?
Yeah. Good view here. You can see how still he stays. And then you can look down his elbow. Watch that elbow in the back. He used to kick it out right at the end on last stroke. Just kick out just right there.
Yeah,
just
that was
little
pretty
bit.
clean there, though.
Oh, yeah. No, that's how he was hitting them in warm-up. I mean, he was just dead center. I mean, shots even more awkward than that.
Well, this back elbow thing, most of the time when you have some type of little, I don't, if you want to call it a flaw or something that happens in the stroke, right, that may cause worries, let's say that. When the timing's better with the backswing, usually that's at its minimal, meaning it doesn't happen near as violent,
Yeah.
kind of flagrant,
I'm not saying that's wrong because he's put the hours in to perfect it, and that's all we need is a repeating swing. It doesn't matter how you get it there. You just got to go through the
Back-to-back racks.
Sure.
From Van
And they say,
Boening.
like in golf and a lot of other sports,
3-2 after rack
there's a
5.
nice replay here. Little overcut on
Watch
the
the
6.
body. Watch the body here. I don't know. Wasn't hideously bad.
Little steery maybe with the swing, but they say in golf that all the greats are right on the border of something that could cause a lot of problems, but their timing, their hands, their whatever you want to call it, are so good. They almost turn that into something special, and it's a weird thing, but I've seen the same thing teaching. When someone has a little bit of something that could be what you call an issue, when their timing's at its best, that almost seems like it's not a problem at all. It's whenever we start to get a little quick and stuff where maybe it could be an issue. 3-2. First lead in the match, correct?
Yeah, both players playing extremely high level. 920 for Gomez, 931 Van Boening. And Van Boening will be breaking.
Now Shane changes the configuration at times. I think he adds that more extension to the break cue on the 10-footer. On the 9-footer, I think it's a smaller extension, actually. Little top, that's the one I was talking about. Remember, every now and again, he'll hit a little top English on the ball than he didn't want.
Yeah, it didn't go straight into the side. It wasn't the hit that he wanted, but he did get kissed back up into the side.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily talking about the scratch so much, just the cue ball itself.
Yeah, here ringside, we got Jim Henry from Big Time Billiards, and he's got people tuned in there. Thanks for joining us, Big Time Billiards. Here's the replay on the break. Back behind the side pockets, spin, spin, spin. The 8-ball trims it and dunks it.
Okay, this could be a stretch here. And some speed as well is required.
He can get out the bridge for this one. There will be no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Well, I guess he could extend. But
He'll swing with the left Duke at the bridge.
Jeremy points this out, and it's a great point. And Gomez plays right-handed but uses the bridge left-handed.
Oh, he kind of hit downward on the ball. So instead of it following through better, like you were talking about with another player, I think it was a couple days ago, it kind of stuns a little more when you do that. And
right.
And it didn't really go, it kind of bounces a hair more, and he's going to make a pretty good shot here, and the speed is what he's really got to decide. Is he dragging this from this distance? Wow.
He might be ducking.
I doubt that, but he may be ducking behind the 5-10-8 trying to make it as well. That's why he may drag it kind of lightly.
Oh, okay. Well, that was,
Well, it's a hard way to shoot it.
When you miss by that dimension, then I think safety was the more prudent play.
Yeah.
Because it didn't threaten the pocket. He was 4 inches away.
Well, from that distance, myself, if I was going to shoot it, I'd probably just run the cue ball and try and run 4 rails around the 9-7, and not drag the ball that much. So.
He took a hard shot and then tried to play a hard positional play, and then, all added together to knock him out.
Now, Shane, what he'll realize is if he stays with his best backswing, he's going to move the ball easier, just like right there drawing it. He was surprised that ball drew that much. Does he have to go follow with this? No, he's going to draw. Big shot here to get position. Savvy vet that Roberto is. Uh-oh. Little command on the speed so far. Wow. This is a unique way that Shane usually shoots this type of shot. more than some other players. If he cuts at it, he's obviously can't hit a ton of speed.
Well, and the problem is the ball has to go too far.
I think he's ducking anyways.
Yeah, I'm saying if you cut at this, you'd have to go 2 cushions. You can just go 1.
Look how good this is behind the 9.
Yeah.
And that was totally intended, by the way.
Oh, gorgeous shot.
Shane a little shake of the head because he knows how well these guys, kick the ball, and he wanted to run out there, and sit Gomez in his chair, especially after a couple mistakes from Gomez.
Yeah.
All right, center balling this. This is odd. Oh, no, he's spinning. Wow.
And that's normally, Roberto's strength to be kicking and hitting balls.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to get at as far as if Shane can get out. After a couple mistakes, Roberto can have that little lull until he regroups at times, which we all can, that's for sure. All right, pretty important he gets on the 7 proper to get on the 8, and the reason being is the 9's kind of a big ball to get on the 8, if you're not in the right position, right?
Right.
Coming across, so he wants to get somewhat close. I think he'll stay off the rail here. Now the thing is, he didn't get where he wanted. He wanted straighter. That way he could control the draw back to the rail to where he could follow off the 7. He's still going to attempt that, I think, but.
Yeah, you like to make a better effort with ball in hand.
Yeah, this is going to get a little thin. Oh, no, it bounced nicely, and he's actually perfect besides the stretch.
So now he's come back out there, and he's going to need the bridge.
Well, that's surprising. He doesn't use a little more extension on the cue for these types. But
yeah, he feels comfortable with the bridge.
Yeah. But I'm saying when you want a little more power on the ball going through, this is one of the more difficult shots. Now, the thing that he did real well is trusting the bed really rolling out, right?
Yeah, that was an economy of power, but now he's going to have to make a stroke.
Good thing he's got one.
Yeah. And this is that fluid transition and super confidence. That helps, too, when you're feeling good.
But, Shane Van Boening used to have that Shane Van Boening effect at times, especially if he made a mistake. You could almost see it kind of mount up on his opponent's mind sometimes, right? And we're all susceptible to this, but Roberto at times, if he makes a big mistake, it's almost like he can have a little lull there for a game or two, which is a natural thing for all of us.
He's a kind of an effervescent, positive guy that, always is positive, but also emotional with that.
Yeah.
Now, here's Shane. This is a big ball to get here, and this is very missable. It can hit heavy. Almost overcut it.
Yeah, well, he committed to it.
And Shane
made a nice
now
stroke
opens
there
up
with the
a
bridge.
2-game lead.
Now 2-game
Game
lead
advantage,
early.
4-2.
Roberto will
Heading
break
into
in
rack
game
7,
number 7.
Roberto Gomez will be breaking.
We knew this was going to be a tremendous match. I was looking forward to it, much like I was yesterday with Shaw and Van Boening. I knew that was going to be great. Both the players are nervous, not because they're afraid to compete or lose, but they want to do well, and they never know how the balls are going to. Sometimes the balls conspire against you, and you have to struggle, and they truly care.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing if you break the balls, and a hell of a handicap would be, I just get to switch 2 balls around me. I'd take the 3 and put it where the 4 is and the 4 where the 3 is, meaning if the balls get to laying a little funny,
right?
It's like compared to your opponent at times, that people don't really put that into the stats as much, but it's a real thing, and just like rolls, it comes and goes for all players.
This is kind of like the Players' Championship, this 10-foot thing, because it's just the top 16 guys, $1,000, single elimination. So there's a lot of pride that goes with this. And then 10-foot table, small pockets. But there's also good prizes, which are secondary to the players, but also important. Both these players have won at least $4,000, and the winner of this match will have $8,000 with a chance to get 16 tonight at 9 o'clock in the finals.
Yeah, and he's going to have to make a decision. He's got not the entire pocket on this bank shot right here, but it's got enough pocket, and it will slide in as long as you don't baby it too much. Now, that is the toughest pocket on the table. And you say they should all be the same, but it's hard for them to all be exactly, you would think, the same. But
well, yeah, I was informed that it's a plus or minus of a 1/16 of an inch, just because it's hard to get those, and that's as close as they can work it currently. So,
yeah, he caught the 2, I think. Oh, just snuck it by. Now he did get snookered. That's an unfortunate roll that you just, you kind of feel that this might happen. I'm kind of going into the 3, but you can't really call that much of an error.
And when you hit it heavy, we know he wanted to graze the rail coming into the pocket, so he hit it a little bit heavy. Nice one pocket save there. Boy.
Yeah, he ran into the 3, though, and carried the 3 with the cue ball a little bit on that one ball shot. That's a hard one to predict a little. 2 up by the 8, cue ball behind the 9. It's a tough one, but I think it's doable. A lot of the guys want to get that separation, though, which is correct, but don't force it.
Right. Yeah, they want the snooker because it forces the opponent to kick, which they can't do with control. If you can see a piece of it, these guys are so skilled, they can defend themselves from a lot of awkward circumstances. I love this if his speed's good. So,
should be
excellent.
Pretty good. Good enough, anyways. On that type of shot, of course, you don't want to sell out, but you just don't want to leave any of the right side of the ball at all where he can bang this away.
Right. It looks like it's hard to tell.
I think
I won't bother guessing.
He's got a little more than we think.
Yeah, I think so too. These are these ugly circumstances you have to prepare for if you're going to try to play in a pro pool tournament. He's kicking, so that tells us right there it's tough.
Nice shot.
Yeah, he did a lot from an awkward spot.
Yeah, hard to not try to get behind the 5 with the cue ball here. With the 10-7-6, you kind of figure, where am I putting the 2 that gives me a lot of chances to use the 10-7-6. Now he's going the other way, I think. Nothing wrong with this either.
Yeah, looks like he's going to at least leave a piece, if not a shot.
But he leaves a pretty decent kick as well. I think he did leave a piece, Mark. No shot, though. Long distance here. Wow, how thin was that?
But I don't think unless he gets right up on that ball, it's going to be what he wanted at all. Yeah.
Now, that type of shot, right, trying to get by the 9 is great. But what about just grazing it, coming to the end rail and said, hey, SVB, go ahead and knock this one in.
Yeah.
Because this is a very touchy situation in the match for Roberto. 4-2, I know it's early, but if he lets Shane get a hair more confidence, he's going to almost have to probably play a perfect match to win. I know that sounds crazy, but, I mean, give Shane a 3-game lead. Looks like he's getting better and better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Big Hoss is here to win, so you can see that stroke. Confidently struck, hit the heart of the pocket.
Yeah, it was perfect. Little elevation over the 9, but shouldn't be an issue. A lot of options here. Just stay off the rail. Don't get too thin at all. The 7 goes in the side easily as well if you don't want to move the rock off the 6. That's what he's set up for here. Just go forward a hair. Doesn't need much. And again, this is where the 10-footer opens you up a little more. You can go a little more forward to make this a softer angle on the 7 and not have many worries. Oh, man. Man. That one could hurt if he doesn't leave it behind mentally. And we'll see what the pool gods want to do after a mistake like that, because we know sometimes you can get punished, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Well, those are one of those unforced errors. It's different when you miss a tough shot or miss a tough kick, but here is a game that you had, right in your grasp and let one slip away. But welcome to the 10-foot table.
Right.
That still maybe drops on a 9-footer.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time that there's just demanding every shot. You just can't lose your focus is all. You ain't got to press or anything. You just can't, take anything for granted. So.
And it bleeds off energy to maintain that high focus, because on shots that you think, oh, this is easy or routine, they're not. And the 10-foot table is 25% larger, 50 square feet versus 40 and a half square feet. But it's actually 35% more difficult because you're adding the most difficult 25%.
Which is length.
So, width. Every shot is tougher.
Right.
And then you got smaller pockets here. So, you can't blink your eyes at the wrong time.
Well, just like the flow of things are a little different as well. Just like right here, for instance, that's what I was going to bring up. How often do you have to go back to the thing to get a bridge or a stretch? And it's not like, oh, you should have thought better. It's just how it is, first off. And if you try to get too cute with the cue ball, making sure you don't have to stretch, you're going to overrun the ball a lot of times. So you still have to play pretty standard, but it's not going to ever feel as comfortable as your 9-foot play, even if you're playing incredibly well.
Yeah, that's a big turn of events there. It was going to be 5-2. Instead, it's 4-3.
4 games to 3, just one game difference now.
But it's going to go both ways. Here's that miss. Take a look at this.
Yeah, and I didn't really see much of a mistake on anything.
Yeah, the delivery, it wasn't that pokey one that he got through the ball, he just missed it. And that happens too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know how Shane did in his Banks match exactly, but he talked to him last night. He was still undefeated going into today.
Now he's talking to himself right here. He needs to be psyching himself up for this inning because he knows he's got the break. And the thing he should be thinking about is leave the 6th ball behind and remember the last break that he didn't hit so good. Just because you hit the rack good does not mean you make balls, but it gives you the best chance percentage-wise. Sometimes you miss-hit them and make balls, but you'll make a way more if you can hit them square and get that spin off the cue ball.
Yeah, and did you notice the beginning of the match, his pause at the cue ball was really focused, like he was taking dead aim. His last break, he kind of was a little light there, and I'd like to see him hold that pause just a little more before he breaks and shoots, to be honest with you.
And what you're describing is just the little mutations, variations that happens throughout the match, because the whole thing is a stream of concentration and focus. So you miss a millimeter here, and it's a problem.
A little shake of the head there. Let's see.
Much better hit. Much better.
Hit him beautifully.
Look at this. Woo.
Hit him beautifully. And I'm sure they've done it before, but I still want to see a GPS on all the object balls and just see who gets more pace and more travel off the rack than him. I mean, Tyler's way up there with him, I think, myself. Anyways, Tyler breaks the balls incredible. There's a lot of guys that break them really good. All right, just float, or else you could kind of deflect a little. Well, he killed it, actually. So big shot here after that 6th ball in the last game. I like him shooting this a little more, coming 2 rails towards the 6, but I wonder if he's going to roll it. Rolling it, it's not bad. And I don't mean rolling it like babying in the ball, but just a top English stroke. I got to probably come backwards myself here. That's that transition we were talking about, much cleaner.
Boy, tough shot, too.
And you got a little off angle here, and this is work. 5 on the opposite side. Not much angle here. The 6 opposite. Of course, you can see the 8-9 if you can get through these 3 balls. He's really heavy stunned now. Yeah, how sweet was that?
Boy, fantastic shot to get that much out of a flat ball.
Yeah, and anytime you're flat and the object ball is, half a diamond away from the side rail, you don't realize how much tougher that is. You can be flat with the object ball a little near the side rail, and you can do a lot with it. But when that ball gets out, it's got to go another half diamond to a foot towards the rail before it bounces. Quality out here so far.
Yeah, he's done a lot. Well, I don't know that my brake demon is updating, but if it is, it says that Shane hit him at 20.5 miles per hour. But with our internet circumstances, it doesn't appear that it's updating.
He's got to draw the ball, stay heavy on it. Easy ball to overcut to that outer point of here. Yeah. Oh. I think he wanted to do that though.
Yeah. Well, clearly he wouldn't have missed it that much, but that was unexpected.
Well, he didn't want to go with the tentative draw. He wanted to let it out a little bit more.
Now this is just a hint of not a huge problem, but I'm just saying you can't roll it.
No, this is where you got to decide to stun, go through it, or draw just straight back. Oh, is that going to get there? The spin's coming off the ball.
Gorgeous.
Oh, beauty.
Gorgeous. Yeah, that was one of those that was never really in line to the last foot.
Yeah, and if you watch the stroke on that shot with the 8, he purposely didn't go through the ball as much. That way, the stroke's not quite as pure, and the ball will bounce off the 8 a little bit more rather than kind of follow through the ball. It's not something you really talk about too much. You just kind of feel it when you need it.
Van Boening makes his second breaking run out of the set. He now leads 5-3.
Well, if he wins this match, it's still pretty early, 5-3, halfway. Let's calculate a little bit. You said that's the second of the match or third?
Second breaking run out of the set.
So I think if he wins this match, he gets into the final. I got his line at about 8.5 breaking runs for the day. He's at 2 now. He's still got part of this match left. I know that's a high number, it sounds like. Yeah. But I think he's going to get a couple more here. I think he's going to win the match. And then he's got a final to play in. The real line might be like 6.5, 7. He's already got 2. What do you think? Somewhere around there?
Probably, because coming into the day, he had a total of 6.
Right.
In his first 2 sets, and he figures to get better moving forward. So 6.5 is a realistic. It's still hard. You have to make a ball on the break, then you have to get a shot, and then you can't mess up.
Right.
I mean, a lot of things got to go just right.
I feel like he's going to really dial it in, though. And, of course, I'm always on the confident side of these guys.
And then we've watched him so long, we know once he gets towards the end there, he doesn't falter much.
There's some great banks and one-pocket matches going on as well. Jason Shaw playing Shannon Murphy. That's a huge one in the maybe 7th round, 8th round of the banks. Banks moving right along.
All right, Roberto's break. Now he needs to go back to that break he started the match off with.
Yeah, don't back down. Everything maintains better when you keep that cue moving through. Little spin.
A lot of spin. Made a ball, though.
He's going to love the one ball unless it falls.
Oh, that's helpful.
And he's a righty to reach it easily. The 3's near the 2, which always helps. Pretty good spread here. Just got to really kind of manufacture this first shot. He can come over between. See, the 3 goes by the 10 as well. Not saying you'd ever want to shoot it that way, of course, because you got to get position on the 5. But I like kind of coming over for this side rail, taking on the 2 in the corner, and instead of drawing for the side, like this. He's gotten perfect now. He can come out and get the proper easy angle on the 3 to get to the 5.
Naturally lends itself to getting out there. If you fall straight, it's really awkward to get on the 5. But if you can just drift the cue ball to his right just a little bit, then he's got a very workable shot.
Well, this you don't force it, but try and get the most out of going to the right. There really is no bad destination, like you said, to the right of the 3.
Well, he was comfortably
that
able
was
to
good.
get a long ways.
I think he got a long ways because he hit a real clean stroke.
Yeah.
That's when you get the most out of it, right?
This will be 2 cushions just behind the 8. Side rail, drop onto the 5. productive. I think you just roll for short side position to play the 6 in the far side pocket.
Absolutely, and good thing about that is, well, he's kind of hitting downward. He's drawn outward. Eesh. Okay. Well, the thing is, if you go with what the shot wants to do, you rarely miss your mark. And not saying your perfect mark, but very good enough mark.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, your
Right.
speed control is always its best when you're going with what the shot wants to do, or usually it is, anyways. Now he's playing awkward in the side, not really crazy bad, but he's got to make sure he stuns just by the 10 enough, not too much to go into the corner. So. See, now he's behind the 10. Or he's close. And that's what I mean. And that all started with trying to move the ball off the 5 instead of just rolling the ball off the 5.
We know he didn't want to bump the 9. He kept trying to get position into the side pocket there, so whenever you can roll it rather than stroke it, when you stroke it, you open up all kinds of opportunity for a slight miss hit. How you hit the pocket changes it. And then, can amplify as it did here already just after one shot. Oftentimes it takes 3 or 4 shots to really see the value of what happened in the first shot.
Yeah, he's lucky to get this shot right here, this bank. It's going to end up being perfect position for Roberto as far as cutting him off. The 8's the kick shot cut off kind of a little bit as well. But
Shane gets one more opportunity here that
absolutely.
maybe he wouldn't have had.
This is the Jim Rimpey shot. If you think you can get by the 10, you come underneath the 7. Kind of cut it towards the hole, but it cuts high.
Yeah.
It goes back over, a cue ball comes up. And he shot that on me a bunch of times when I was young, trying to play that pro tour. And I was like, man, you keep meaning to do that?
Yeah.
It kept happening, so I was pretty sure he did keep meaning to do that.
King James was tough business.
Yeah, and you give it a little opportunity to maybe make it as well, That's the shot. He just wanted
a little harder.
more.
Would have been better. Just
exactly.
a little harder. But maybe he had to hook it in there a little bit, too.
Yeah, and
that's why he chose that speed.
And I think he was giving it a half a chance of making it as well, and you can't fault that too much.
Not at all. No, this isn't easy to control the cue ball. You're going to make a good strike here.
Yeah, he's killing it with a little inside. Is that what he's doing? No, just straight. Watch out. See you later. Yeah, he hit the ball a little off to the hole, though, and no English hardly. But as far as that 5-ball shot earlier, the position on the 6, it really got these problems started and got Shane to the table, to be fair. It's not the, fanciest shot. It's not the prettiest shot, but it sure is effective just rolling forward on that ball. And the funny thing is, that's what he looked at. And we bring this up a lot, that it seemed like just last second he decided to draw over here. He didn't really think about drawing over there the whole time and just, I can do this right here. Let me just draw over here, and ultimately end up costing him.
Yeah, that's a big game, too.
Huge.
And Boening will go up 3 games now from a spot that did not look like he was going to have a comfortable way to win the rack. It's those, you can get out either way, whether you draw or you roll. You can get out, but which way do you get out the most? And I think the roll just helps you so much.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't hit the 5 how he wanted, right?
Right.
Drawing back to the 6, right? He didn't, I mean, we can admit he didn't hit it how he wanted. That's a part of the argument. But he shot a shot that allowed him to maybe not hit it how he wanted. And versus where you had an option to where it's always going to be there. Like we talked about yesterday, I brought up a shot that Roberto kind of killed it with low and drug it up the table. And I said, I've never seen Buddy Hall shoot a ball like that. He would have just rolled across it with a half a tip of English. And so.
And while he did get in a good spot, he didn't get out that rack either.
Right, but I'm saying, like, if you keep shooting it that way, it's a long-term thing, but 1 out of 25 of them or something is going to cost you.
Maybe more. So, It's 2 in a row here that he played a non-conventional approach.
That's it right there. That's the one that I think that line is going to be like 7.5, 8 racks.
Whoa. Look at that break. Yet again, the one ball checks up over the corner. A couple balls drop.
Oh, when you see that cue ball flying back past that first diamond, easily past the side, watch out.
Uh-oh. Yeah, boost of money here.
Yeah, he's not moving it much. Just bringing it out about a foot. Oh, that was a pretty sweet stroke behind the back.
And then the 3 and the 4 lend themselves nicely. The 5's not too bad. A real possibility he breaks and runs out here.
I think you're, he's got to win this match to get that close to that number I was talking about. But I just kind of feel like he's going to dial in the break and have the opportunities to break and run. He might not do it, but he's going to have the opportunities to. He's surveying pretty well. The thing is, he's got to realize if he gets straight on the 5, whatever pocket that is, he can stop his ball and take a nice little easy cut shot for the right-hander on the 7, right?
Well, you don't want to get down below the 7, that's for sure, because then you go into the 9 and it becomes, more treacherous to deal with.
Yeah, like I said, I'd love to be able to get straight on the 5 somewhere, and just be able to stop my cue ball, come around the 10, and have the 8-9 land.
Exactly right. If he could keep the cue ball right about where the 5's at now, that's what he's looking at.
Yeah.
Then that's the economy of travel with the cue ball after the hitting the 5 in.
He can use the rail. He can come upward. Withdrawal. It's up to him. That's what I like. Just perfect. And what you realize on the 10-foot, and the 9-foot's there too, he's good, is it allows you to hold the ball very well. Like, I would bet he can still hold the ball.
I think he's stunning over. I think he's going over behind the 8.
Oh, really? Man, that's a small angle to do that.
But he's got more margin of error. I think.
Yeah, but you get flat on the rail, straight in on the 7, you could have serious issues.
True that. Well, if he can hold it, I'm all for it.
I think he can beat the 10. Even if you have to go by the 10, it's okay.
Just don't miss.
There you have it.
Nice. Well, that helped things immensely.
You can go one rail between the 9-10.
Yeah. Now we're getting down in my zone.
Yeah, and you can reach him a little better.
Double J. Once we get into here, if I could just get to this shot.
Yeah, he may play short side here. Oh, he could cheat the pocket. He played it to the right side of the pocket so he could pull the ball.
Cruising along. 3rd break and run out of the set. Van Boening now. 7-3. And maximum, he inflicts the punishment there.
Well, he read my mind right there. I was going to say it a little differently, that you don't get those titles without smelling that blood real well. You smell a little weakness or whatever you want to call it. Even if, he even does it to where he feels like, oh, luck's on my side, whatever you want to call it. He pounces as well as anyone ever has.
He maybe wasn't supposed to get a great scoring opportunity in the last rack, but did, and then takes advantage of it from that misplay on the position, and then now he extracts maximum value with a break and run out behind it. Serious momentum on Van Boning's side. And while 4 games is not insurmountable, but the momentum thing, or the ball count, he's feeling good. He's breaking good.
Yeah, he's not going to – Shane isn't in any worry position for a while in this match now. Meaning the way he's breaking, 4-game lead, even if Roberto breaks and runs, this is not a worry situation for a little while.
Right.
A lot of pressure here. Much better on the hit.
Really good.
Wow, he didn't back off.
He got kissed in. I was looking at the
terrible,
5. I didn't see what happened there with the cue ball. I thought he had okay, and I was looking over here at the 5 ball.
So both guys have gotten a pretty ugly kiss after the break and surrendered ball in hand now, once apiece.
Yeah, that was a nice break, too. Good look.
I might zigzag this cue ball here, Mark, underneath the 9, a couple rails, set up for a little angle here rather than drawing off of this ball. This isn't terrible, though. I guess there's a lot more room there than it looks like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think he feels comfortable with that little nip draw there where he can control it. He feels like the speed's for sure going to be good.
Well, it's important then, because getting on the 4 is the shot of the rack. And he's trying to set up to draw his ball for it.
Ooh, he got maybe just, yeah, you got in that nether region where it wants to kind of just glide into the 7.
Well, the good thing is if it just glides, as long as it's not heavy, you can go ahead and still draw through the 7.
But that you can't determine because how you hit the pocket. You know, that's
course,
the problem.
yeah.
He may or he may not.
Now, I'd like to see if he's, okay, he can do it.
Well, Big Hoss feels like he can snatch this right back there where his hand's at now.
Let's see the backswing. Pretty clean.
Oh, pure.
Well, it's the same thing as the break shot. When you don't try to guide it through there, Mark, everything holds its line better. Just like Roberto's break shot, he didn't let up. He had a lot better break. Unfortunate kiss.
Okay. This is starting to look like hammer time now.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like for Shane, he didn't put pressure on himself from the beginning of the tournament, I felt like. He kind of was like letting himself process and get into the event as it went. And I think that's a pretty easy way to make everything very constructive and not so much pressure on yourself.
Right. He's double checking. He does not want to drop
he got
back
funny
into the side.
Here. No, this ball got funny.
And he knows it's speed control because the side pocket looms quite large on this draw.
Yeah, the thing is, it's a little harder to cheat the pocket because of the distance and a little tighter.
Yeah, the 4 1/8 he did. He hit the proper side of the pocket, picked up a nice angle, and he'll be able to get the cue ball away from the side cushion. That's a big deal.
And, you know, like that little look right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it's, 3-2, Roberto early, whatever, we might not get that look. But like I said, he feels that he can kind of end the match maybe here before getting to 11 if he can make sure he gets out in a few of these, right?
Yep.
And that's the other shot that the 5x10 lends a little more space to go to that rail and be able to spin up.
Now, a real ugly kiss for Roberto on this to scratch on the break. But it all stems back, and now Shane's going to be breaking again. You know, doggone, this can snowball in a hurry, and look at Roberto. He's playing at a 909 clip right now. I mean, it's not like it's ugly pool or anything.
Yeah, for sure.
And just getting smoked. Playing 909, getting smoked here. 8-3.
Yeah. Well, just think about how you're playing. You know, if you're having to use a lot of side spin, right? Like he put himself in the position on the 6 to where earlier he had to put a lot of inside to try and beat the 10, but then not get away from him and so on and so forth. Point of the story is if you're having to use a lot of side spin from shot to shot, you may want to check your patterns a little bit more and see how much, if you can play it a little more simply. That's all.
Right. And truly, it takes a player of Van Boning's stature to take a match like this and put superheat on you anyway, because you're playing winning pool against anybody else for the most part.
Yeah, he's just going to limit your opportunities after you make mistakes. That's all. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Another one of those break and runs, maybe, if the 2 opens up. Where are we at now? He's got 3 in this match.
Yes.
He can go at the 2-3 here with the cue ball. Angle's not terrible. The stretch is a little awkward.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah. 5x10, this is a much tougher shot than it would be a 4.5x9.
Hard to believe him not attacking here, though, going at the 3 or the 2. And the good thing is when you have this natural angle, Mark, you don't go in with a ton of speed. The angle kind of takes you, so you figure nothing terrible is going to happen.
When you overcut this ball because you're trying to get the cue ball over there, then you're really no worse for wear if you miss, because that's the way the shot plays, and then the one filters back to the end rail.
Right.
But if you connect here, you can do some real damage.
See him floating in there?
Pure.
Yeah, there you go. You got a shot. He can kill the ball. He's close enough to it with a straight low, maybe a hair right. He can spread out and get a shot on the 3, I believe. Now, the thing is, you're not going to be as close to the 3. Like, see where his tip is now on the table? Yeah. That's where you spread out to with the low right, let it kind of bend.
It's a little thinner. I don't know. He might have to use the 7 here.
That's okay, too.
Yeah, he might have to bump the high side of the 7.
Can he go 2 rails past the 7 above the side and then take the longer shot on the 3, that's an option as well, right?
It is, but to get past the 7, then that leads it to the end rail with 2 cushions.
Like too much, right? Too much, yeah.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Now, let me ask you, can he go with the inside in between the 7-3 back and forth?
Not easily.
Not easily.
I think the 7's got the most yield, but you also run the risk of not landing very nice.
I think the inside has a hair of a chance of action, though.
Just totally use the 7.
Unlucky to get all the way to the end rail. Wow.
Well, that was always the problem with that because you don't know exactly, but it was a great effort there.
Well, he was trying to hit a hair of the high side of the 7. That way he don't end up on top of the 3, right?
Totally.
And it just so happened it cannoned all the way to the back.
And he knew that was a risk. If he lands just a hair heavier, then it takes pace out of the cue ball. It doesn't go all the way. If he just stops on the head string there, he's golden for him.
Oh, nice stroke.
Man, what a shot.
I know he got a little snookered. Maybe it's
well,
close.
He fluttered it in, so that's how it took it. But once again, great shot, but
Well, that'll show you when you commit to the stroke, that pocket gets a little bit bigger. And that ball didn't hit perfect at all.
Very interesting here. He took the extension off his cue, so I guess he is jumping with his playing cue. But oh, my goodness, what a shot. Shot of the match there. Bounce.
Yeah, that's just like the regular shots, right? When they elevate with the extension, most of the guys will take the weight off.
Yeah.
Whether it's straight in, a jump shot, whatever, when they elevate a lot of times. Big shot here. Stay focused. Don't use the second rail. Just float across.
So easy to miss behind that great shot.
That's what you have to recognize on the 10-footer as well, is when the natural way to shoot it doesn't really involve the second rail, where a lot of times on the 9-footer, you just easily want to get to the second rail with the cue ball. Shane's recognizing it.
And have to stay smooth with this one. Oh, hit the heart. You really don't have to do anything wrong on that to miss that ball.
Oh, yeah.
You can hit it with a good stroke and still miss it, but you got a much better chance to make it if you have that good stroke.
Yeah, that's right. And mentally, just remember this simply.
Oh, boy.
Don't miss it before you get down. You know, like don't cripple yourself beforehand, you know.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, right. Same here.
Your Honor.
Same here. That's when I've been going in the place late at night and hit a few balls, the first few racks, I'm missing before I pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And then it starts to get a little bit better as I go. But
I don't know how you feel about this, but when we see a breaker run out of that proportion like that.
Is that number 4, by the way?
Yeah, it is.
Are we getting closer to that 8.5 number?
He might get him this match, but nevertheless, my point is, look at that jump shot.
Well, talk about Shane a lot. The one thing I notice, and he wants them to lay tough. No, not just for him. I mean, he almost enjoys it more when they lay tough, in my opinion. I can almost see like a happy kid face kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Especially when he keeps knocking them in, which I get that kind of happy kid face too when I see him keep knocking them in. But but if they lay tough for both players, I think that's where you're going to see some separation.
And Efren Reyes feels the same way.
Absolutely.
He's tired of routine layouts.
Yeah.
He only likes that's why he loves 15-ball rotation. There's always challenges.
Well, that's why I like the pocket size here now. I mean, it's just you're just going to see better pool. You're going to see more pool. You're going to see guys that are even happier when they win because they know they've earned it. They played incredible. Big shot here on the 1. He's got to get something going.
You know, another point to the last rack, and I don't want to just gush about it, but the jump shot, full cue jump shot. I'm all good with that. It's the jump cue thing that I don't enjoy it that much. I like the kicking side better. But if you could make a jump shot like that, that's pretty thrilling.
Oh, nice confident stroke there. Now he's going to get on a 2-7. I'm not sure if that was the intention. It may have been just because that's what the shot kind of laid for. Got to have command of the object ball.
He's playing for the 10, maybe. Oh, no, he was able to hold it there.
Yeah.
Good.
No, now Roberto's skill set is very high skill set. I mean, he's got a great touch. He can work the rock. Oh, boy, that from nowhere. But that's the same thing as he missed on that ball earlier. He let up a little bit. The 2-ball down the rail, remember, early in the match? The 6-ball, I'm sorry. The 6-ball down the rail.
Right.
All right.
Well, I'm pulling for Roberto to get out here. Good shot.
Man, what a nervy shot with the bridge. A lot of spin with a real light speed. So he's still very confident, just has let a few things get away.
No, I'd like to see him win 3 or 4 in a row here. Good shot.
Yeah.
Good toughness here. He withstood quite a flurry. And up here pocketing balls that are not a certainty.
No pause at the cue ball,
Got
Roberto.
quick.
Did you see on that
Yes,
last
I
4
did.
ball how dead aim he had with the pause? Really long, really focused there. And then you take that one for granted a little bit.
I don't think take it for, but there's a letdown. You made the good 4.
Yeah.
Now you know you got the game within your grasp, and then maybe you just get a hint quick.
Yeah, what the letdown does, though, is you miss a piece of your puzzle, right? You miss a piece of your process.
Yes.
And that's the one thing that you got to learn from the other greats, right? Fedor,
Yes.
Gorst, and a few others, that they just usually don't miss that piece of the puzzle, whatever it is.
They complete their checklist every single time, no matter what the shot
Beauty.
is. Oh,
Beauty.
Look at this. Scoring at will now from a long range, off angle.
What the one I compare it to, I've done lately when I help people, teaching back home or wherever, is I know on a bet, if I just toss the basketball to Steph Curry, he could make about 500 in a row free throws. If I just kept feeding him, you know what I mean? Just because I was around great shooters, and he's the greatest, right? So I know he can do that. But guess what? In a game, when he's at the free throw line, he still goes through his dribbles, setting his feet, all that process, even though he knows he can make 500 in a row.
Yeah.
Because he's doing the same things, and he can rely on it under pressure. Even as, and I don't know what you think about him shooting free throws. I'm pretty sure he can make 500 in a row.
Yeah, I know he's the greatest. And one of the things, speaking of Steph Curry, that a lot of times in pool instruction I'll talk about is his level of enthusiasm. When he comes on the basketball court for practice, he comes out there to his other guys, and he brings an energy, and he goes like this: "Hey, Jeremy, give me the ball. Heat check.
Yeah.
And launches up a 40-footer just to see how today's going to go.
Yeah, right.
And then they're high-fiving, and he may miss, but it doesn't matter because we're getting going here. And a lot of times when I look at people in the pool room, when they're practicing, it looks like they're at home cleaning their toilet. Facially, there's no exuberance, there's no enthusiasm. You don't have that spirit.
Sure.
Because this is hard to focus like this if you don't have it. You can't just say, "Well, Mark told me keep practicing, said I probably get good."
Yeah.
You don't have it. That's never going to work.
Yeah, there's a happy medium kind of thing, right? Along with, of course, effort.
Oh, willingness to work, but
yeah.
it's got to be passion that drives you, not Mark telling you to practice.
Oh, he's just a 7-ball away from maybe another break and run.
Look at you. You're trying to get the over here in one set. Slow down.
I'm trying to middle this number here. So. All right, kicking to the side rail, coming across it. The one's not in the best position to bank it up a little bit. But you could sell out and accidentally hang the one. Boy, it's a thin one to kick rail first to make. Oh, my goodness. Now, he can do it.
But it's a thin hit.
Super thin. And does require, most likely, some outside spin, which would be running left English here. I like coming across it, trying to get the cue ball behind the 10.
He's trying to help it.
Oh,
he's trying to help Jeremy get that number. Look at him. He's fighting hard. I'm going to lose another dinner bet here. I can see it coming.
He's got a perfect 3 rails all around the 9 to come 3 rails almost to where the cue ball's at now.
Oh, that was a big shot.
Uses that Jimmy Reed system. He underhit it.
Well, he might have got, that's what happens when you're playing good.
Yeah.
If he scooches on by there, it's not fun. But now he's still doable. We got 2 great fans listening in Atlanta, Georgia. Craig Brown, Kane Martin. Glad to have you guys with us.
Probably going to the Atlanta area this year a couple times probably. I have a sister that just moved to that area. My oldest sister. Go a little visit. Now he's got to go around the 5, between the 5-10 maybe for a little cut shot. We'll see.
He might accept the long 5.
Kind of doubt it with him on that one. He didn't want this bump there. He got the friendly bump. Little off angle still. Well, it hadn't been the cleanest cue ball here so far, but getting through it.
Yeah, that's one thing the momentum helps you too is, the shots that you have a little trepidation about earlier. Now when you're going with this many consecutive balls pocketed, you smooth on out.
Oh,
and just
yeah.
feel like, I'm supposed to make this. Man, it's a lifetime of commitment to make it look like that, though.
Well, you can tell timing's good whenever you swing at the 7 like that. And you
Yeah.
notice not a whole lot of pace, but how much pace the 7 had. That means you're transferring it really nicely. You're getting the most out of the stroke.
Right. Match ball here for Van Boening. This would be his 5th break and run out of the set. And there it is. Great match. And another thing, this really sets him up for those other events here. That's cool, one pocket.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, he's and master of the table comes with it. And don't think he doesn't think about it. Even though this didn't apply to the master of the table, it's a tremendous warm-up.
Well, that's what I said. Coming in here after a little break, and he deserved a break. He had a hell of a 2022 and a long one. It almost feels like he's building up to his best here at the Derby, and I can see it kind of happening day to day.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it, Mark.
Oh, thank you. And this has been an ACCUSTATS video production, the worldwide leader in billiards programming.